This week on MasterChef Australia.
I'm here, I'm finally here, and I'm about to start cooking.
The journey began for the top 24 amateur cooks.
It's showtime!
The Italian Restaurant Challenge saw the red team claim victory.
Yeah, it was fantastic, the bestest feeling.
While the pressure proved too much for Sarah.
I just think I need to be home.
And Jonathan and Devon faced elimination.
You win!
I knew I loved food, but this has really confirmed how much I do.
Tonight, it's a change of pace as Gary and George serve up a masterclass.
What we want to do is share a few Italian secrets.
You'll learn how to create an Italian feast.
I'm in heaven.
And Gary's mum drops by to help with a traditional Sunday roast.
We never had onion
Gary,
gravy.
that's a bit fancy.
What do we have onion gravy for?
Plus,
here we are in the heart of Little Asia.
Award-winning chef Luke Nguyen puts his spin on two classic Vietnamese dishes.
It's just beautiful.
It's been a crazy week this week. We might have been expecting a gentle start, but no, they hit us straight off the bat.
Coming into today's masterclass, bit of a sit down, bit of a relief, get to learn something and get to process everything that has happened.
Welcome to Masterclass. You can breathe a sigh of relief. You're not up for elimination, there's no challenges. All you've got to do is watch George and I cook. It's been a very, very emotional week. You know it, I can see it in your faces. It's been tough. We started with 24 a week ago, and we're down to 22 contestants already. Sarah, that was a shock.
Thank you.
Thank you, best of luck. She decided to leave the competition and go back home.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Joanne, you were friends with Sarah. You're also a mum.
It's difficult being apart from your children. She had to make the best decision for her and her family, and obviously it's the right one.
Yeah. We also lost Devon. He faced elimination against Jonathan on the egg test.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you win!
And Jonathan beat him. Philip, how do you feel about Devon moving on?
I don't know, it's strange. It's hard not having him there.
Let's get off the sad stuff and talk about the positive stuff during the week.
Gary and I saw some impressive performances during the Italian Restaurant Challenge. At Dal and Alvin, I was fortunate enough to be over at Cafe Moretti with you guys, and you absolutely worked your butts off. And over on the blue team, Shani and Claire, Gary was telling me fantastic stuff about how well you guys were going at Carpaccio Restaurant. Well done. You four are going to miss out on Masterclass today with Gary and I. Because we've organised a one-on-one masterclass with the man, Alvin, that you went up against in the Celebrity Chef Challenge. Luke Nguyen from Red Lantern. There is nothing that Luke Nguyen doesn't know about in regards to Vietnamese cuisine. He is the master. You're going to learn heaps about Vietnamese cuisine, bring back some ideas, hopefully, for everyone. Have a fantastic time. Enjoy yourselves. Off you go.
Thank you. I am so excited. I mean, I'm feeling amazing. My heart's beating, and masterclass with Luke Nguyen. That's awesome.
So the first thing we're going to recap is our fondest childhood memory challenge, where we ask you to put your childhood memories on a plate. I actually love Devon's roast lamb. I thought for many Australians that's going to be an absolute classic childhood memory. So today, I'm going to cook my mum's roast. Yum! Yorkshire puddings, roast beef, and there's going to be thick gravy. Now, the surprise I've got is that I couldn't make my mum's roast beef without my mum. I certainly couldn't make her Yorkshire puddings as well as she does. So the big reveal today is the fact that my mum is going to come in and show you how she makes her Yorkshire puddings. And you know what? Before she comes in, she tends to tell me off a little bit. Why? Because I don't cook the same anymore. But you know what? My Yorkie puds and and my gravy doesn't taste the same. Oh. So, let's welcome my mum. I've got a tear in my eye. God.
Hello. How are you?
Now, of course, this is Jan, my mum. And she's all the way from England. She came out to Australia about 2 weeks ago to come and see us. So she knows George very well. So.
Did Gary show any talent early on in his life in terms of food?
Oh,
and
yes.
Cooking?
Well, his granddad was a chef. And when I was out at work, his granddad used to look after Gary and his sister. And they used to have cooking sessions, which I used to taste when I came home.
Wow.
And they used to make all sorts of things. It was wonderful.
So you were actually the original MasterChef judge.
Yes,
You'd come home and taste.
Yeah.
It's not Sunday, it's Friday night, but I'd love to be part of this Mehigan roast dinner.
We've got lots of stuff to do because in our house, it's a frantic time, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I'll do as I'm told.
So you make the Yorkshire puddings,
Right.
And the onion gravy,
Right.
maybe,
Onion gravy.
or roast potatoes.
That's a bit fancy.
And I'll-
Yeah, we never had onion
Gary,
gravy.
that's a bit fancy.
What do we have
Onion
onion
gravy?
gravy for?
And what about parsnips? Roast parsnips?
Oh, parsnips, yeah, they're nice.
And I'll do the beef. Right, so we better start
Yeah.
by giving you an apron,
Oh.
right? You know, because
Mind
you
the hair,
can't,
mind the hair.
can't work in here without an apron. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Looking beautiful.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
Lovely. Right, so we're going to do the roast beef first.
Right.
And I've got a lovely rib roast. Now, we didn't have this as kids, did we? Look at that
No,
baby.
that's really nice.
I mean, let's be honest. What did we eat? What did we have?
Top side?
Top side, which works well. Not
Yeah,
as tender as
top
this.
side.
This is a beautiful rib. So what I'm doing is I want to keep this joint of beef together while it's cooking. It's a bit like when you roast a chicken. You've got to keep it together, otherwise it dries out. So basically, one string under the other, and then I turn it against the knot, okay? Then I can tie a second knot and draw it down, okay? And then this is the tricky bit if you've never done it before. Hold the string like that and put your hand this way round, and you turn it, and then put the sleeve around the next rib. Then that creates the first tie. Pretty quick, isn't it? Like that. Around. And then again. And then this will keep it all nice and tight. And then what you do is turn it over, and then you roll that little bit of string under each one, so it's secured it. Easy, isn't it? So, Mum, if you could just grind a whole lot of pepper over the top of that. Plenty of pepper and plenty of salt, all right? It's not any different than you do it, is it?
No, it's just that the meat looks good.
It does look good, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
a little baby, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And then some thyme.
Right.
And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that into the hot oil, just the fat side down first, and just brown that off nicely, so I get that caramelisation. And then when you're popping it in the oven, especially for a piece of beef like that, that'll probably only be in for about 35 minutes to a medium rare. It doesn't take long, because even though it's on the bone, there's no protective bone on the other side resisting heat, so it will actually cook through quite quickly. And remember, we always rest beef. Now, the other thing I've got, these are little beef trimmings, little beef ribs, okay? And what we use these for is to create a trivet around the beef. So what it does is it lifts the beef off the base of the roasting tray. And it does more than that. What it does is it puts flavour in the pan that when you make your gravy, that gives it a real kick. So, George, I've got a couple of things that you can do.
Yep.
I've got some onions to do for the onion gravy, so they just need to be caramelised. Yep. And, Mum, do you want to brown some parsnips?
Yep.
And I've got some nice garlic in here as well that you can chuck in.
We get the fun jobs.
Yeah, you just do that over there. So what I've done is I've caramelised this beef, all right? And we've got to seal all sides of this. seal the end, and then we're going to pop that beef on top of the trivet, OK? Final little season. OK, so that goes into the oven, and that'll be in for about 35 minutes before we test it.
Looks all right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, he's not bad, is he?
He's not bad.
So the beef's in the oven. Now we're going to get on to those vegetables, right? So first up, I'm going to put the potatoes on. And there's a lot of different stories about roast potatoes in terms of the best way to do it. And I don't know if you can remember, Mum, but Grandad used to do them like this. Do you remember that? Like really low and flat, like Frisbees, because he loved those glossy, you know, crispy roast potatoes. You know why I like it? Because it soaks up all the fat.
Yeah.
That's what it is,
Bad
right?
for you.
And that's what tastes good. So the way you used to do them, and the way Mum does them, a little bit of salt, and we'll just let them come to the boil.
Yum.
OK? So, over to the parsnips and the onions. So, what we need to do is get those parsnips out of that roasting pan, pop them on the plate, just for a little bit later, and then we'll hold that roasting pan ready for our spuds when they come off the boil.
And the onions? I'll just put olive oil in the onions.
Yeah, what I want to do is caramelise them, get the sweetness, hit them with the vinegar, lift all those juices and caramelisation off the bottom of the pan, and that forms really the essence of the gravy. So the only other thing, George, I'm going to add into that is a bay leaf, just for a bit of flavour, and a few little bits of thyme, all right?
What do you reckon?
Because I need to complicate stuff.
Yeah, bay leaf. Very
Makes
nice.
sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
It does.
Have you got a bay leaf tree in the garden?
I have.
Yeah?
I've got 2 or 3 in the garden.
Beautiful.
Did Gary used to climb the tree?
No,
No.
it's too small for him. He wouldn't take his weight.
That's nice, isn't it? That's nice. Huh? So next up on the Mehigan family roast, we're going to do Yorkie puddings.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
this is your recipe. We've got about 300 mils of milk. And
Right.
we've got about a cup of flour and 2 eggs.
Great.
So if you think about it, Yorkshire pudding's got no other raising agent in other than the eggs, right? So depending on how many eggs you put in, actually is really how high they're going to blow. And the other important thing in terms of making a good Yorkshire pudding is the consistency of the batter. Because if it's too thick, it won't rise, okay? If it's too thin, it'll rise, but it'll collapse on itself. So what are you doing there, actually?
Putting
So what
salt
you've done
in.
is you've whisked it until it's smooth and taken the lumps out. Put a
Bit of
pinch of salt in. And then make sure you get all the lumps out first. This is a batter, a basic batter. It's like the consistency of single cream. The other important thing is you've got to whisk it, you've got to aerate it a little bit, and you've also got to let it stand. How does that look?
Pretty good. No lumps.
That mixture has to rest, right? OK, so I've got the potatoes. The whole idea with these potatoes is that you just rough them up a little bit, you know? Look at that, that's beautiful, look at those. Lovely. So in with the potatoes. And we're just going to put in a few chef flurries just to...
And a bit of salt. We'll put those
There you go,
on.
bit of that, bit of that. What I find is if I brown them well first, brown them evenly, and then pop them in the oven, I get a fantastic result.
That smells lovely.
Beautiful, isn't it? It's lovely.
Onions, do they need to be
A little bit of
glazed?
vinegar.
A little splash of cider vinegar. And now...
All right, so they smell beautiful.
Beautiful.
George, if you can look after those spuds, and then Mum?
You want them to go in the oven?
Yep.
Yep.
OK, so the Yorkshire puddings. Nice and hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it?
Yes,
Really
very
hot.
important. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
And then that's dripping.
Yes. Beef dripping.
Beef dripping. This is what Mum would insist on using. Look at Dom, look. He's out there going, oh, yeah.
You've had this.
Yeah, I love it. Right, I'll put this in the oven because it needs to be roasting hot. Let's get this mixture in the moulds. What we explained was that that mixture has to rest, right? So that one's been in the fridge for about an hour. What I like to see, actually, is that they sizzle. Yeah, go on. Be generous.
They're nice when they're overflowing.
You're cooking for me, remember?
Yeah, right.
Brilliant.
That's it. It's
Right.
getting cool now.
Right, off they go. Yorkshire puddings in the oven, 200 to 220 degrees. OK, it's got to be hot. Boom. It's got to shock it, and they've got to start blowing up. Fingers crossed. And they'll take about 20 minutes. So, George, I reckon those potatoes are going to look pretty good.
Yeah, they
Mum, you better check
smell
George's work. You know what he's like.
Beautiful.
They're looking
They're
good.
looking good.
Yeah,
We'll
they're
tip the
looking
parsnips
good.
on.
I think that's a good idea.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And this will just finish them off, won't they? Make them nice and crisp.
Yeah.
And warm them through. Maybe
Beautiful.
a little drizzle of oil.
Looks really tasty, doesn't it? Huh?
And maybe
They look
A
good.
little
They
bit
look
of
good.
salt.
salt.
Yeah.
Delicious.
See, it makes sense
They
now,
will,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Browning the parsnips first and then bunging them on the top. I
Yeah.
reckon you get a good result. That's my little trick.
Yeah, I
right.
know, yeah.
Now we're going to
I
get the
heard.
beef out and we're going to let the beef rest. all right?
Look at that. That looks lovely.
So what I'm just going to do is just give this beef a last little baste, all right? I'm just crisping that last little bit of the beef, and all that, of course, got heaps of flavour in it, right? So that's the beef, and we're just going to let that rest, OK? Right, George, before we make the gravy...
Yep.
I just want you to do some spinach and peas, because that's our green stuff for our roast.
Just to keep it healthy.
Yeah, keep it healthy. A little bit of butter, George.
Butter, yeah.
A little bit of garlic, all right? And then, Mum, we're going to make our gravy. So all of those little bits of beef, the trivet that we used, has now got all this flavour in that pan, and we want to thicken it. Now, I wouldn't put flour in at work, but Mum still makes her gravy with a little bit of flour. So go on, Mum, chuck it in. And obviously it's got to be hot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that enough fat in there?
Yes, that's fine, yeah.
So into the gravy, or into the roux, we're putting in hot beef stock, OK? That forms the basis of our gravy. Now, Mum wouldn't do this, I'm sure, but my little chef flurry is a little bit more thyme, which you can bruise in your fingers to release the flavour. And you can put in a little bay leaf, and just little finishing touches like that will make an enormous difference to the end result.
Oh, I'll need some salt and pepper.
That's excellent. Is that lovely?
Mm.
A little bit of pepper.
Lovely.
Any salt?
Yeah, a little bit of salt. Mm. It's all
right.
bad for
OK,
you,
Mum.
but we'll have some.
A little bit of salt.
A little bit of salt.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Isn't that gorgeous? And then the other thing, and Mum would tell me off if I didn't do this.
Put the juice of the meat in.
Put the juices from the meat into the pan. And then the last little thing is tip that gravy through a strainer on top of the onions. Oh, you wait till you see these babies, right? Hang on, Mum. Oh! Oh! Look at those babies. Right, we've got to tip them over, right?
Yeah.
Because this was important. You see what it does is just lets that fat out. And see how they're a little bit soft? And they just go back in just for a couple of minutes just to crisp up. And if you don't do that, they'll go soggy, and that's a disaster. Right, OK, George. Mum, you put the peas in there.
OK.
George, you put a few potatoes and things on there. Roast beef.
I'll go around.
God, tastes good, doesn't it?
It looks
See, now it feels like the Mehigan household. There's lots of stuff going on.
He's getting a bit slow, isn't he? What do you reckon?
In my old age.
Well, we're giving the washing up afterwards.
Yeah, he needs to do the washing up. What do you reckon?
That's what he used to do at home, the washing up.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I was only allowed to. I was only allowed to do the washing up. You're not allowed in Mum's kitchen. Right, let's get these Yorkies out.
Unfortunately, there's only 6. They're lovely.
Right. Isn't that beautiful? OK. That's the Mehigan family fondest childhood memory. That's the sort of lunch Mum used to do for us.
And he was slim then.
That's very hey, hang on a minute, hang on a minute. Tell him I had a six-pack, didn't I?
Yes. Yes.
Hard to... Thanks, Mum. Appreciate it. Cheers. Now, my top tips for the perfect bit of roast beef, obviously it's your choice of beef and the cut of beef that you buy. Remember to use a heavy-based roasting pan. Season, use some aromats, things like rosemary or thyme. And for the Yorkshire puddings, what are your top tips for Yorkies?
The liquid, when you mix it up, must be rested for at least an hour. You can put it in the fridge, that makes it even better. And you mustn't open the oven door to have a look, because if you open the oven door, they will go like that and sink.
So Dominique, Courtney, I think you better come up and taste a little bit of this. And Jonathan, I think we'll have Jonathan up as well. Beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Right, off you go.
No, you go.
Right, bit of onion gravy. George, in England, this is how you do it, all right? Ready? Right, Dom, tell us what you taste. Do you love it?
Beautiful. Just the meat with the crusty outside from the nice caramelisation process. We didn't used to have onion gravy either. We just had a sort of a plainer gravy. So that's interesting.
Do you like the onion gravy?
I really do, yeah, I like it.
Did you have some?
Jonathan?
After living in England for 5 years, I never had a roast like that.
Oh, you didn't have my Yorkshire pudding.
That's amazingly fluffy.
And Courtney?
Those little touches that you've done have made a difference.
Lovely. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
No, thank you.
And the rest of it belongs to me.
Butter.
Thanks, Gary.
Cheers.
It belongs to you.
Yeah. So, Mum, thanks so much for coming in and show us your Yorkie puddings. Appreciate it. and I'll be home for dinner soon.
Cheers. Lovely.
We're in Cabramatta in Sydney. I've never been here before. We walk into Freedom Plaza and this amazing lion dance begins and there's drums going.
Just an incredible, incredible atmosphere.
Wow. We're here to meet Luke Nguyen. So exciting and just really happy to be here.
Now guys, Gary and George have asked me to give you a private masterclass here in the heart of Australia's Little Asia. If you're a foodie, you need to come to Cabramatta. You know, it's the heart and soul of Vietnamese cuisine in Sydney and home to 120 different nationalities. Can you believe that? Now, everyone's familiar with Chinese, Japanese, and Thai, but Vietnamese cuisine is still a little bit mysterious. Today, I'm gonna get rid of that mystery. I'm gonna cook for you 2 dishes, a really light, delicate, fresh green mango salad with tiger prawns and mangosteen. And wait for it, I'm gonna get some live mud crab, and I'm gonna toss it in a wok with a spicy satay sauce. First of all, I'm gonna make the green mango salad. Now, I judge a good Vietnamese cook from their fish sauce dressing and their dipping sauce. It's gotta be very, very well balanced, okay? So first of all, really easy, sugar is the sweetness to start off with, yeah? So around 2 tablespoons of that. I'm gonna just dissolve that with half a cup of water. So that dissolves. And now the tartness, the sourness comes from white vinegar or rice vinegar, yeah? So 3 tablespoons. And next we've got fish sauce, okay? So again, 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. Look at the color on that, so lovely, isn't it? Now some garlic, we'll infuse the garlic in, just 1 clove's enough. So just finely slice that. Next we have the bird's eye chili. I'm not gonna seed this because I like it spicy. And just finely dice that. Do you guys like spicy?
Yes.
Let's use a whole chili then. So I'm just gonna let that infuse into the fish sauce. Now, in Vietnamese, this is called nước mắm, right? Which is fish water, translated basically. I'm gonna give this a taste test and see the balance of flavor. Citrus in there. There's your dressing. Easy, right? Okay, we'll let that sit. Now we'll start with the salad. Okay, now we've got our green mango. So I chose a nice, green, firm mango. Now the difference between this one and the usual Kensington mangoes we eat is the sweet mango is ripe. This is basically an unripened mango. Us Vietnamese wouldn't eat this ripened. We would always eat it green. Why we eat green? Because it's textural, it's sour, and it carries flavor, all right? So prepare this. You just need to shave it. Now you can do this many ways. You can finely slice the mango, you can use a mandolin, but I'm gonna do it Vietnamese market style, street food style, because we are pretty much on the streets, aren't we? Now, if you are in Vietnam on the street, as a little snack, you would have this sliced with a little dipping bag of salt and chili. Alvin, you've probably tried that before, haven't you?
Have.
Quite unusual, isn't it? Salt, chili, fruit. But in Asia, that's what we eat as a snack. Now, you can do this many ways, okay? So you've got the mango, sharp knife. Watch your fingers there. See all the little slits and incisions I put in there? Then we can grab our peeler and peel away. And that's our julienne mango, okay? But today in the markets, we've got one of these babies. From Asia, does the job for you. Green papaya, green mangoes, carrots, anything. It shreds it for you. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Really simple. Shani, would you be able to help me out with this? Show everybody how easy it is to do. So you go all the way around, okay? So 1 mango, there you go, you can do that. Are you left-handed?
Yeah, I am.
You're left-handed. She's left-handed. Watch this. There you go.
Now I have to have one of these.
You gotta have one. That's it. Look at that. Now, Vietnamese cuisine is very important that we have texture in every mouthful we have, okay? Now, have you reached the siege yet?
Yes.
All right, that's heaps, that's enough. That's perfect. How easy was that?
Yeah,
A few
very
minutes, it was
easy.
done, all right? You can go back now and I'll continue, yeah? Fantastic. So guys, we've peeled our green mango, right? Put that in our salad bowl. Now next, I'll do my fresh herbs. You probably need around 5 sprigs of purple perilla. You should always have this in your fridge at home, all right? Some Vietnamese mint as well for that spicy, peppery kind of punch to the salad. Some basil, some Asian basil. Smell that, isn't it gorgeous? Some green mint. Now I've also got some rice paddy herb, which I'll just pick and leave aside here. Citrus, fresh cumin characteristics. Now I'm gonna just lightly slice my herbs. Don't chop it because you'll bruise it. Okay, so you just roll it up and just not too thin, just nice chunks like that. I'm gonna put it in the salad, sprinkle that in. Throw in the rice paddy herb, like that. Now look at that color already. I'm gonna put some tiger prawns in here as well. Now to peel that, just take the head out, rip it off, suck the brains out. Yum, don't waste the head. Tear the legs off and the shell will just come off. I'm gonna leave the towel on because it looks fantastic with the towel on. And you can just devein it because it's already cooked, like that. They're your prawns, all right? Who wants to get their hands dirty? All right, Adele, can you come over and do this then? Do that there. Perfect. Yep. Now suck the brains out.
Serious?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the way. Isn't it good?
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's lovely.
Okay. Yeah, it's
All right.
beautiful.
Suck another head. All the flavours in the head, see?
It is.
Thank you, Adele.
Thank you.
I'll move on to the mangosteen now. Mangosteen, my favourite fruit in all time. Oh, that's my favourite part of making this salad, is just seeing this glowy, vibrant white light.
Look.
Yep.
If you didn't have mangosteen, what else would you be able to put in there?
Well, lychee, rambutan, but this is kind of my own creation. Okay. I haven't seen anyone serve this in a restaurant. Now, the salty element to this dish is a dried shrimp, okay? It's dried in the sun for 2 days. It's quite salty. I've soaked it in cold water for 20 minutes and I've drained it. So now it's nice and soft. Got around 10 grams there. Throw that in as well. Look at that, there's more colour to this dish now, yeah? I've got some fried Asian shallots. You should always have in your pantry. Yeah, a bit more crunch as well and flavour. A good handful of that. And some roasted peanuts. Now here, I've got my mortar and pestle, which is as old as I am or older. My parents took this over from Thailand when we fled from Vietnam, and this has lived with me, and I still work with it at Red Lantern. Gonna throw that in, pound it, not too fine. Throw that in. Look at that. Now I'm gonna dress it, okay? I'm gonna start with around 4 tablespoons of dressing. Just gonna mix that together. Now I'm gonna plate it. Sunday barbecue with your mates. Throw some prawns in there. Throw a few more prawns in there. How good does that look already, huh?
Yes.
Finish with some prawns, with that. A bit more dressing over the top.
Oh, that is superb.
Now I'm going to top it with a bit more shallots for garnish. A few more crushed peanuts. Some fresh chili on the top. And check that out, guys. How simple was that? Yeah, fresh produce, great ingredients. That's my green mango salad with fresh herbs, dried shrimp, tiger prawns, and mangosteen. Come up and give it a try. Check it out. Dig in. Is it good? You can eat it all day, can't you?
Taste all the herbs and the freshness.
Really fragrant.
Yeah, fragrant.
Fresh.
Yeah.
It's a really good mix of the herbs too. They all come together.
And get all the crunchiness as well, all the texture. See, each mouthful should have bursts of texture.
And that chili just hits you at the end. It's fantastic.
But all very subtle flavours.
Yeah.
Nothing's too dominant.
No.
It's all very well balanced. Yeah. Now, guys, my top 3 tips for good Vietnamese cuisine is the freshness of produce, the balance of flavour, delicate flavour, and of course texture, because texture is really important in Vietnamese cuisine. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed my green mango salad today.
Yeah. Thank you.
We did?
Beautiful.
So next up on Masterclass, we're going to revisit the Italian challenge. Marion, you're at Cafe Moretti. What's it like cooking in a wood-fired oven? It's very different, isn't it?
It was so difficult because the fire is over on one side in the oven and it's extremely hot, so you had to make sure the pizzas were turned all the time. Very difficult not to burn the edges.
And did you burn a few?
We may have burned a couple.
Okay. And Matthew, you did the pizzas in Carpaccio.
Yep.
Do you know how many you made?
I think it was around 50. The first two were probably not the best that I did, but once I got the hang of it, yeah, I was just throwing them out.
What we want to do is share a few little secrets, a few Italian secrets from a Greek guy and from an English guy. And we started throwing a few ideas around and came up with bruschetta, which is a classic, but with interesting ingredients on top. And we're going to do 3 bruschetta. And then what are we going to do as main?
I'm going to make lasagna. My lasagna that I'm going to make actually got little meatballs inside rather than mince. And then for dessert, roast peaches.
And I'm going to do zabaione to go with that. So the nice thing about bruschetta is the fact that it should be a carrier for beautiful ingredients, OK? I've got some very thick-crusted, dense-textured sourdough bread, because the beauty of this is that you're going to grill it, and like all good toast, it'll take a little bit of stale bread and turn it into something wonderful, especially when you drizzle with a little touch of olive oil and then put on a hot griddle, or preferably on a barbecue or a wood-fired grill, OK? Those slices of bread will take about 2 to 3 minutes each side, and we'll just cook that until we get a nice bit of char on the top. And then we're going to make a couple of fillings, OK? First up, George, I want to make a favetta, all right? So what I've done here is some broad beans, which have been shucked, and then I've got a mortar and pestle, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt to smash it all together. So a little bit of olive oil just to break that garlic down, and then you put in the broad beans. So, George, I'll just put in this amount. There's about a zest of half a lemon.
Still ready.
Love this, absolutely love this stuff. And let's grate a little bit of the pecorino inside. And you can put as much or as little pecorino in as you want. What do you reckon, a bit more? Keep going?
Yeah, why not?
Keep going, keep going, that'll do. Pecorino, similar to Parmesan, crumbly cheese, but I find a lot more tart, a bit more acidic, and a good aged pecorino I don't think you can beat. I prefer it to Parmesan. While George is fiddling around with that, we're going to use this lardo, which is a cured back fat, all right? As part of the curing process, they would salt it, right? And then they would use all these little herbs which they've pressed over the top, and then they've dried it, all right? It's a beautiful thing. They actually have a festival in Italy, which is a lardo festival, which if you translate it would be absolutely horrible. Wasn't it a lard festival or a fat festival?
Oh, would be welcome, wouldn't we?
Terrible. Sounds terrible. Right, George, so that's our favetta. That's done. Right? Just chop a tiny bit of parsley for me.
Yep.
And what we're going to do is we're going to make a very simple gremolata. And gremolata actually is the classic accompaniment for ossobuco, right? But I use it for lots of things because I love lemon, I love parsley, I love garlic. I'll just put a little bit of garlic through on the microplane, actually, which you can do. Don't need a lot. So what we've got here is just that parsley, the lemon and the garlic, which is now my gremolata. A little bit of olive oil. And then all I'm going to do is just slice this lardo paper thin, all right? So we're going to put a few of these slices. Wow. Sexy stuff. So that's our lardo and gremolata ready to go. So now we've just got our sardines, George. So these have already been gutted.
Yep. Do you want me to just fillet them?
Cut those, yep.
Always making sure there's no scales. There's nothing worse than getting a scale when you eat. Okay. These are so easy. And I don't mind that little tail on there, shall I say? I think it's just pretty as.
Because we're going to fry these sardines quickly. So all we're going to do is just going to dip them in flour.
These sardines don't take long at all. Yeah.
Look at these beautiful tomatoes. They're all heirloom varieties. Isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? If you're a gardener, then you'd be familiar with this sort of stuff. A slightly underripe or slightly green tomato, tart, a little bit more acidic, and go beautifully with quite an oily fish like sardines.
Sardines, that fish, it's so oily, it loves lemon, it loves it, absolutely loves it. So a little squeeze at the end, just beautiful. And I haven't even turned them around in the pan, just doesn't need it.
Right, George, while you're doing that gorgeous thing, we're just going to rub a little bit of garlic on these bruschetta.
You want me to kick off with that?
Kick off a couple with the favetta.
Okay. And have a look at that. Beautiful.
And, of course, the lardo. So it's just very, very thinly. Just pop the lardo on the top. And then, of course, a little bit of the gremolata. We're going to put a little bit of this pecorino over the top of those little ones with the favetta on the top.
And I think it just needs a little bit of the old fella. The old fella, he's my best mate. He's always beside me.
And that's our bruschetta. We've got some beautiful heirloom tomatoes, slightly green, but 3 different varieties with a quickly fried sardine on top. The lardo with the gremolata and a little bit of sea salt. And then the favetta, which is just the broad beans and pecorino cheese, a little bit of garlic. So top tips for bruschetta, great bread. That's where it starts from. The other thing with bruschetta is they're a lovely way of just adding some creativity and offering something crunchy and moreish, just gets the taste buds going to start a meal. So Marion, as soon as you're on the pizza section, you come over and taste. And Callum, you're on the entree section in the blue team, so you come and have a taste. All right, let's just cut these to make them a little easier for you guys to taste. Dig in, let's try. George, would you like a piece?
Yeah, why not?
Lardo is really quite creamy. It's beautiful.
Those tomatoes have just got so much flavour and they're so vibrant and it looks awesome on the plate. I think the pecorino and the broad beans work really, really well together.
Guys, back you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, next, I'm gonna make you guys lasagna. Who would have thought? The Greek making lasagna, but my lasagna is the best. And why I love this lasagna, the next day it's even better cold. Yeah, I love it. I'm starting with my basic onion and tomato sauce. Onions go in, oil goes in. I've also chopped up some tomatoes. I've blanched them, removed the skin.
Boiling water, about 10 seconds in the water.
10 seconds out, cool them down straight away, nice water. Peel the skin, squeeze out any residual liquid.
And all the pips.
And all the pips, and then throw that in. For every sort of kilo of onions, chopped up onions, it's a kilo of tomato.
Wow.
All right, so, and what will happen is I've got lots of oil in there. It's the oil for me is the actual highlight of this tomato sauce. And also got some puree tomato, just to enrichen it a little bit more. That goes in. We've got some rosemary goes in, some thyme. We whack the lid on and just leave it.
And how long do you cook that for?
A good hour.
Wow.
And that will be
so
absolutely
that allows
delicious.
all the flavours from the herbs and the onions to come together.
Yeah. What I've got here is I've just confied down some shallots and garlic. So there's probably about 10 whole golden shallots and probably about 20 cloves of garlic. Really low heat and just literally let them bubble away, not boil. Okay, and what you end up is with these really sweet, gorgeous, shallots.
Soft.
And the same with the garlic as well. They're just really beautiful. Now, to cook them, basically we're going to drain off that oil, and that oil is gold. Don't be too concerned if it's not, sizzling hot to kick off. We just want to caramelise these shallots, all right? Just use a little bit to fry off. And then the same again with the garlic. While the shallots are caramelising off, we're going to make the meatballs that are going to go in the lasagna. So we're not actually doing a traditional mince that goes through the centre. I thought, let's tweak it a little bit. Let's change it a little bit. So, quite simple. There's about 300 grams of veal, 300 grams of pork mince there. There's probably about a cup of breadcrumbs, all right? 1 egg, and that will help bind the mince together. A good pinch of salt and a good crack of pepper. And that's it. That's all that's going in these meatballs. Just get our hands in there. You've got to feel and touch and, you know, get your hands into everything. And then what I want is little meatballs, all right? They've got to be small. So that's how big they are, all right?
Okay, so George, you want the garlic in?
Yeah, that'd be
great. So just pop that in and... Lovely.
I think to give Gary a hand, I think we should get Carrie. Carrying Gary.
Carrying Gary.
Gary. Currencies?
Yeah.
Gary, the shallots are pretty much nice and golden, so I'm just going to throw some thyme in right at the end, and that will just flavour them beautifully. And then we'll literally mix, 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 and then they go here. Right, guys, the next process, that's boiling an egg. So many people get it wrong. Boiling salted water, okay? Not cold, boiling. 55-gram eggs they are, okay? They go in. I've got a timer on for 10 minutes, and they will be hard-boiled, all right?
Now, George, these are done. Carrie and I have done these, so thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
Appreciate
Well done.
it.
Good job. So we've had that tomato sauce on for about 45 minutes to an hour, and you can see it's just deep, red, rich.
So what happens now, George?
Straight into the tomato sauce.
So just drop them in, don't need to seal them off or anything like that?
None of that.
Keep it on a low simmer.
Low simmer.
Lid on.
Lid on, and they'll take about 20 minutes to a half an hour. And you know what? That and a beautiful fresh spaghetti with a bit of grated parmesan over the top.
Heaven.
Yeah, come stay, huh?
20 minutes,
Right.
George. I'll remind you.
Thank you. We just got some small potatoes, popped them into a pot, covered them with cold water, salt, brought them up to the boil until they were cooked. That took about 15 to 20 minutes until you could pop a knife through them or a skewer through them with ease. So I've got 5 eggs that I've sliced. I've got 8 to 10 potatoes that we've boiled and sliced. We've got this beautiful buffalo mozzarella, okay? Literally, we're just gonna tear up.
That's buffalo milk, right?
Yeah, that's right. Right, next we need to make the pasta, the sheets that are gonna go in between and form the lasagna, all right? First step, we've got 500 grams of flour, and that goes straight into a food processor. 140 grams of egg yolk, okay? A good little splashing of olive oil. Right, lid goes on. And what we want to get is basically a fine crumb. You'll see, it will appear. And then literally goes down. We need to just knead it to pull it all together and create the dough, yeah? In terms of kneading, you know, a couple of minutes, that's all, just for it to come together, and you'll see you'll get this nice, smooth sort of dough consistency. All right? What you want is a nice little ball. Right, now we actually roll the pasta dough up and leave it aside for a couple of hours to rest. Okay, guys, I'm making my delicious meatball lasagna. The dough for the pasta's rested. Now it's time to roll it out. And keep that wrapped up. A little bit of flour just to make sure the pasta doesn't stick to the bench, but not, I see a lot of people, they throw loads of flour on it. Remember, you don't want to incorporate more flour to this dough. You've added the right amount. Just want enough just so it doesn't stick. You start it off on the highest number, which is number 1, so the widest in terms of the opening of the machine. And you start. All right, you fold it into each other. Okay, so you're laminating the actual pasta. And that gets the gluten going, so it becomes nice and tight and workable. Gary, do you want to come over and finish off these?
Yep.
Oh, and the meatballs are done?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Looking beautiful.
Fantastic. All right, cool.
Right,
I'll
so
let
I'll
you
finish
take
that off.
over. Next step is to assemble the lasagna. So we've got all our ingredients. We've also got some picked parsley leaves, some marjoram, which is beautiful, I think, and we've got some thin slices of Parma prosciutto. All right. Aaron, do you want to come and help me assemble?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So first step, a little drizzle of olive oil on the bottom of the dish, a little pinch of sea salt, okay, and then a little bit of pecorino that we're just going to grate on the bottom, okay? All right. We're going to just grab 2 sheets of lasagna, pasta, and we're going to create the base. First sheet's gone down, okay? and we're just going to cut a strip to go to the top, all right? So, all right. And there you have it. That's the base. Now I'm going to get you, Aaron, to start doing the rest, but little shake of the olive oil, all right? A little bit of sea salt. What I like to do is I want a scattering of these meatballs, so I just use a slotted spoon, so I'm draining some of that excess olive oil, and I want lots of tomato sauce to go on there, all right? It smells great, yeah?
It smells fantastic.
And then just make sure that all these edges are covered with sauce. Next step, mosaic some potatoes around.
John?
Make sure they're whole, so they're getting a whole potato.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. And think about, we've still got egg, cheese, and the shallots and garlic to go, so...
Absolutely, don't fill it up too
Yeah.
much.
Next is egg. All right. Okay. All right, then we've got these shallots and garlic. Is this making you salivate when you're making this?
Yeah, a lot. I'm managing to hold it together, but it looks pretty delicious.
Some of the buffalo mozzarella, do you know, it's not overpowering and it's just going to complement it. All right. Just pick some parsley and then marjoram. That looks good, yeah?
Looks really, really good.
Now I want a good little shaving again of some more pecorino.
No problem at all.
All right. And of course, the last step after we've shaved the pecorino over, we go prosciutto.
Okay, a whole layer?
A whole layer. So you'd go that layer at that side.
Thank you very much.
So this is basically, we're going a layer of pasta, that filling, another layer of pasta, the same filling again, and then the top layer, and that's it. All right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Pasta,
Done.
Let's go, big boy. Fantastic. Now you're into it, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Make sure, guys, you push the air out of it, because what you want is this compact, beautiful lasagna, all right? But what we do is we take all that saucy goodness.
It's pretty good to me.
Pecorino. Fantastic, beautiful. All right, then foil goes over this. Shiny side down, okay? That goes into an oven, 165 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. For the last 5 minutes, we take the foil off, nice bit of caramelisation, goldenness, yumminess on the top, and there you have it, all right? Aaron, thank you so much, man. Well done.
Thank you, I really appreciate
good job,
it.
yeah?
It's great, thank you.
Beautiful. Right, let's pull the lasagna out of the oven for the moment of truth.
Oh, I came back just in time, George.
It's been in the oven for about 40 minutes, and for the last 5 minutes, we've pulled the alfoil off and got that nice little
beautiful
crunchiness
really
on the
looking
top.
forward to this, really looking forward to it.
A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of shaved pecorino. And there you have it, Gary. That's my version of lasagna. Okay, for me, it's all about putting lots of beautiful, interesting ingredients. So as you're cutting into it, you're discovering something different, something tasty that complements each other. Make sure you rest your pasta, really important. So once you've kneaded your pasta dough and you've gotten it to this consistency, wrap it up in plastic and leave it aside for a couple of hours to rest. Tomato sauce, tomatoes, onions, olive oil, simplicity. You don't need to add lots of things in there to make it taste good. If they're great tomatoes, they'll be delicious. Matthew, Philip, come up and taste.
Dig in.
Come on, boys.
Oh, wicked.
Do you think this little square would be enough for all of us?
No.
No.
I think we should get the whole tray out.
That's a blinder.
That's unreal.
What do you get when you taste it?
Oh, just all these flavours of, like, you know, the shallots and the garlic and the meatballs, and it's just, I don't know, it's unreal. A real nutty flavour from the garlic too. It's just...
You know what I get? Is I get all of those and then I get these lovely soft pockets of that mozzarella that's just like super creamy and coats your tongue, and you just want to go back for more, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Matthew, wow. Thank you so much, boys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So guys, here we are in the center of Cabramatta. the heart of Little Asia in Australia. Now guys, our next Vietnamese dish is mud crab tossed with a Vietnamese spicy satay sauce. Now I've got a live mud crab waiting to rock and roll. Now to kill this humanely, put it in the freezer for a couple of hours or an hour, or submerge it into ice cold water, and it will feel no pain. Alrighty? And I'm gonna make the spicy satay sauce. So we have the dried scallops. Now I've soaked that in water for around an hour. I've got the dried shrimp, which I've soaked for 20 minutes, and I've pounded it, okay, in a mortar and pestle, so it's nice and fine. What I'll do first is I'm gonna put some oil in a wok, some vegetable oil, just around half a litre or so. Now I use vegetable oil in Vietnamese cuisine because it's neutral flavour, yeah? So I'm gonna let that heat up. We've got lots of garlic, so I'm gonna chop up around 4 cloves or so, just nice and rough, doesn't need to be finely diced at all. All right, I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna chop up some chili, some long chilies. I'll save that for later. And I've got some Asian shallots, just roughly sliced. So the oil should be quite ready. I'm gonna put in my garlic first, slide it in there. Now I've chopped up some green spring onion, around 10 heads, okay? Put that in. My long chilies. Smells good at the moment. Some red Asian shallots, throw those in.
Luke.
Alvin.
Is there any difference between the French and Asian shallot?
It looks similar, but the Asian shallot is red, and I think it has more intense flavour. So we use this over the onion as well, okay? So that's slowly cooking away, bubbling away. We've got around 100 grams of dried shrimp there, okay? Mix that together. I've also got some crab meat, okay? This is blue swimmer crab meat. So, mud crab with blue swimmer crab, wow. 200 grams of that, throw that in. Now, you guys like spice?
Yes.
My recipe is 25 grams of dried chili. Now, dried chili is hot, it's spicy. If you like chili, put 25 grams in, yes?
Sure.
All right, you're Malaysian, you can do it, Alvin. Now, what else do we have? We've got some dried scallops, soaked. I'm gonna just crush it all up because now it's quite crumbly. I've got 40 grams of this dried scallop, over $100 a kilo. So don't go too crazy with it, all right? Now I'm gonna season this now. Bit of sugar, around half a tablespoon of sugar. It's gonna caramelize it, get some color in there. Some fish sauce, not too much. It's around half a tablespoon, yeah? And some really nice oyster sauce for a bit more color and a bit more depth to it, so a tablespoon of oyster. Beautiful. Lovely. So I've just waited for everything to cook together, combine together. Chili oil is the last one, around 100 mils of chili oil.
Luke, so this is a base that you can use for anything, like what you said.
For anything.
Right.
You have a nice broth, you want a bit of flavour, some spice, throw half a teaspoon in,
yeah.
Stir fry your spinach or vegetables in there.
How long does it keep?
If you don't use the fresh crab meat,
yep.
It will keep in your fridge for a month. So I'm gonna cook this and simmer away for around 25 minutes. Now my crab's ready, I'm just gonna take them out. Just drain all the water out. Take off the string that's been protecting me from sharp claws. So fresh, you'll taste the freshness of this crab. Sharp cleaver, in half. I'm gonna cut into maybe half again. Just like that. I'm gonna chop the claw off. Put her in there. Now, the back of your cleaver, just kind of give the claws a bit of a tap because they need a bit of assistance when you're eating it, right? Bit of a tap like that. Now, I don't use a thermometer. I use a wooden chopstick to see how my oil is, okay? So if I put my wooden chopstick in here, I'm gonna put it in. See how it's bubbling? It's ready. The more bubbles, the hotter it is. If it's not bubbling, it's not ready, it's not hot enough, all right? Now I've got some potato starch here as well, guys. Potato starch is not flour, it's more delicate, it's lighter. I just want to give it a nice little coating. Just a dusting. Okay. Now my oil's hot now. I'm going to throw in the chunkiest bit first, which is the claws, because they take longer to cook. Hot oil, just slide it in. Now, when you're cooking crab or any type of seafood, a few minutes and that's it. See how hot the oil is? That's all you need, a few minutes. Throw the shell in last. All right. Oh, look, guys, that's see how it's discoloured? It's ready. I'm gonna take that out. Take it all out. What a feast. I'm gonna drain my oil over the crab. I'm gonna leave some oil in there, all right? Garlic, it's gonna be really, really hot. Chili, spring onions, fry that. My spicy satay sauce, in it goes, around 4 tablespoons of that. But I like it so much, I'm gonna put some more in. All right, throw the crab in and toss the crab with all the yummy, delicious satay sauce. Just coat it all, look at that. How good's that? I just want to get stuck into it now. Okay, that's good. Plate her up. Wow. How good is that? Lastly, we put the shell on. The spring onions, a bit more chopped chili. And look at that, guys. Your fresh mud crab with a spicy satay sauce. You want to get stuck into it? Because I do. Come on over and get your hands dirty, all right? Don't be afraid to crunch into the claws. Let me just take this up for you. Now notice how the sauce has crispened up a little bit. It's crunchy. Get in there.
Oh.
What do you think, Shani? You got the claw. You're the lucky one.
It's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to go home and tell Dad to go fishing for some mud crabs.
Sure. Adele, yummy?
Oh, it's yummy. It's just
Fantastic.
beautiful.
So guys, my top 3 tips of cooking a good crab. Make sure the crab is, of course, fresh, live if possible. The oil is hot and consistently hot, and you don't overcook your crab. Guys, Gary and George are waiting for you back at the kitchen. It's great meeting you and having you here. I wish you all the best in the rest of the competition.
Thank you, Luke.
See you later, guys. Bye. See ya.
Bye.
Right, it's the final course in our little Italian banquet. So we're gonna do a really simple dessert of roast peaches. I'm gonna use amaretti biscuits, make a beautiful little crumble.
Yep. And I'm gonna do zabaione to go with that.
But it's, I think, about the theatre. So we've set up a beautiful little table there, table for 2. So we're gonna invite 2 of you to our little restaurant. Dominic, Kate, would you join us for a little dessert? A very gentleman of you, Dominic. So just enjoy yourselves there. Get to know each other.
How you doing?
With the peaches, it's quite simple. We halve them, and then what we're going to do is turn them into little cups, all right? In the blender here, I've got 2 peaches chopped up. Quite simple. And I've got these amaretti biscuits. So 2 peaches and about 2 cups worth of these dried amarettis. Lid goes on. In terms of consistency, what we're looking for is a nice sort of wet crumb, all right? We're just gonna fill these cups up. Right, next step is to bake our peaches, all right? So frying pan on, a little bit of sugar. Our peaches go down. Okay. And then, Gary, if I can get a splash of amaretti on the bottom.
Yep.
Right, and then these straight into the oven, around 200 degrees for about 5 to 6 minutes. And they're nice and golden on the outside. They're ready to go. Over to you, Gary.
Right, zabaione. That copper bowl should fit neatly on top of a pot with enough water to create steam, but not actually touch the bottom, all right? So we pop the egg yolks in. There's about 10 egg yolks in there. There's about 3 tablespoons full of sugar. We've got a lovely vanilla bean. So split the bean and take out all that lovely seed on the inside. And this is pretty extravagant for you two. but why not? Sometimes you just have to be, okay? So you need a dash of brandy, just a little bit, and a dash of the amaretti. Just a little bit. So what I tend to do is I tend to put in a little bit of hot water, just a couple of tablespoons, and what it does is it just loosens up the egg yolk enough, just so that it starts to aerate, not on the heat, right? So what we're going to do is we then put it over the double boiler, or over the base of that pan, and the steam is going to start hitting the bottom of that bowl and warming up. And then what it is, it's about whisking, aerating, and cooking at the same time. And you have to whisk evenly, all right? And what happens, it gets away from you. And what I mean about it getting away from you is that all of a sudden now there's quite a bit of residual heat in that copper or in that bowl to keep cooking the foam. So it's about this balance between, once it's partially aerated, hit it with a little bit of heat and take it off. And then put it back on, hit it again with a little bit of heat, and then take it off, okay? So I'm pretty close now. There's still some, you know, residual heat in there. It's really hot, can't touch it. So I'm making sure that I'm still whisking. What we've got is, watch this. You see that ribbon? Happiness. All right. Ready, Georgie?
Fantastic. Right. The peaches have been in the oven for 6 minutes, and you just give them a nice little glaze, and we're ready to plate these up. And just to finish, just a few little almonds over the top. Okay. A little bit of this cooking sauce, a little drizzle, not too much, because you remember you got the sabayon that's going to go on there. There you have it. There are our peaches.
Beautiful.
Gary, shall we do our stuff?
Let's do it. Après-vous.
Scusa, bella, come stai?
Bene, grazie a lei.
Una peachy for you today. It's very special, huh? Sir Domenico, little peach for you.
Grazie.
Make sure you pay the bill, huh?
No, yeah, with my heart.
So what we're going to do...
Served by Gary and George.
No?
Food, beautiful.
Oh.
Buon appetito.
Grazie. I'm in heaven.
Fantastic.
I feel special.
Right, so there you have it. You've got roast peaches with an amaretti crumble and sabaglioni. You know, food is not there just to fill. It's not there as a fuel, all right? It's there to make us feel amazing. And those little touches by coming out to the table is beautiful. Something that, you know, you could possibly use, you never know, going forward in the competition. My top tips are be specific when you're picking your stone fruit. Make sure they're not too overripe where they're really sloppy and you can't really get a nice, beautiful cup, okay? It's really important that you don't overcook them in the oven. You want them to still have a little bit of bite and texture to them.
And with a sabayon, it's a cooked foam. So you have to follow the steps that I did quite carefully. Make sure that you aerate the egg yolk, sugar and alcohol first before you put it on the heat. Make sure the water isn't touching the bottom of the bowl. The last one is if it's getting away from you, take the bowl away from the heat. That's it. How hard can it be? So expect the next time you do a sabayon in the kitchen, every single one of them is going to be perfect. Well, that was our masterclass. So let's come up here, grab some food and have something to eat. Ah, they returned.
Hey, where's the rice paper rolls?
We ate it on the way.
Pour some wine.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers, Gordon.
Guys, it's been a massive week. You're all still standing. You are all a chance to take this out.
What you have to remind yourself in this kitchen, between these very walls, you're going to experience more and more. The best is yet to come. So here's to the MasterChef kitchen. Cheers. Cheers. see you guys. All the best. Tuck in.
Next time on MasterChef Australia.
This challenge is going to lay the foundations for the rest of this week.
First up, it's a very special mystery box.
What is this?
Then, the amateurs will fire up their imaginations in the invention test.
Now's the time to unleash.
For the best dish, a shot at immunity.
There are some gorgeous dishes in the room that I cannot wait to try.
It's really important to do well today.
But for the three worst, their dream will be on the line.
One person will be eliminated from this competition.
I think I'm in trouble.